Good morning, everybody in the Ho community. As my mom used to say when she woke us up for school every morning, the birds are up, the bees are up, it's upsy-wupsy time. It's kind of gay, but it gets you up. It's Monday morning at 7:30 and we're ready to start our week. Thank you for joining me on this, our first Ho Apparel Be Activated session. Today we're going to focus on your breath and how if you're in a stressful situation, or say you're trying to do a trick on the pole and your instructor's screaming at you and you can't figure out what she's saying, your brain's kind of frozen. I want to teach you a quick way to use your breath to bring yourself back into your body. And I know tons of disciplines use the breath. We've learned how to breathe in everything we do. Basically, we know how to breathe, right? If you don't breathe, you die. So when someone says, I'm going to teach you how to breathe, my first reaction is always like, whoa, I think I got that because I wouldn't be alive if I didn't. I'm going to teach you a more effective way to breathe, to bring you down out of an anxious state or an overwhelmed state and get you back in your body and ready to meet the day. So when we do these activations, we like to have a baseline of how our body feels, and then as we do the activation sequence, we keep doing that baseline to see if we feel any better. So an easy one to do is just a squat. So if you're out there with me, I want you to just do 3 squats and notice what feels weird on you. So for me, my hips are super tight, my knees are a little crunchy, and my mid to lower back is kind of tight. Just information for me, as we go along, I'll see if any of those things improve. So if you did your squats, make a mental note, what hurt, what felt crunchy, what didn't feel right, and then we'll move on. So the first activation, pull my shirt up, we're gonna go along the rib cage to the middle here, and then up the sternum. So you want to take your thumbs or your fingers and you want to find just the edge of that bottom rib. So everybody's ribs are different. Just find the edge, and then you just want to kind of scoot your finger along that edge with sort of a medium pressure, like you don't want to just be light, but you don't want to kill yourself. And as you go along, if you find a place that's more tender, just kind of stick on that. Just rub it a little bit. Sometimes when you're rubbing on a tender spot, if you rub, it'll go away. You're like, oh. Sometimes you find a tender spot and it feels like there's a bunch of trash, like there's a band of tissue there that you need to work through. So just don't speed through, just see what you find. That's particularly bad for me. So we'll do the other side. So you're just taking your fingers and you're just going along the rib edge. So you don't want to be under it. You don't want to be on top of it. Just along that edge. See what you find. It's always bad for me here in the middle. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. So when you get to this middle here, there's a little bone that sticks down called the xiphoid process. You don't want to push straight on that bone because it flexes a lot and you can break it. So you just want to go up to your rib edge, and then you may be able to feel it, you may not, kind of a little hole. And that little hole's on either side of that bony xiphoid process. And you just kind of want to get your finger in there, root around a little bit and see what deliciousness you find. When you're done with that, head up to your sternum. And a lot of people hold a lot of gunk in their sternum. So I like to use a lot of modalities. So 3 fingers, sometimes I'll use my knuckles, depending how gross it is. So you don't have to move your bra. Just start kind of, it's like a meat tenderizer. You want to tenderize that meat. If you're feeling around and you feel a lot of tissue, that's kind of what we want to get to relax. So the more you dig in, the more some of that tissue is going to soften, and then you're going to feel all your bones underneath. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. as you go up the middle, and then go up the sides. So I do the middle first, and then the sides. So your pec muscles come in right here, and that's a really nasty place where you can get some adhesions. So just do up the side there. And then pull my shirt up. At the very top, there's a hole. You don't want to go in there. You want to go right to either side of it. And you'll see your clavicle comes in. There's like a little hole right there. So just do those two little spots. Get them nice and good. Super great. One's worse than the other. Okay. Whew. Now, let's do our 3 squats and just check in with our body and see where we are. The first thing I noticed was my back popped. My hips are a little bit looser, but my knees are still crunchy. But all in all, I think the movement is sort of has gotten better. But I think we can improve on that. So, doing what we call the inverted Y, so the rib cage and up the sternum, turns your brain on to your diaphragm. So it sort of opens up your ability to breathe. And what we want to do now is learn to get as much air down deep as we can. So I want you to take your hand, put it on your tummy right under your belly button, and I want you to breathe in through your nose, fill up way down here into your girl parts, then breathe out through your mouth. And I want you to practice that 3 times, so nice and slow. Let you see it. A lot of breathing classes we are taught to expand through our rib cage, which keeps the air up here, and we have so much more lung capacity down here. And if we can learn to push that breath all the way down and expand our bellies, we get so much more oxygen going through our system. So now that we've done that, we've done our 3 belly breaths, let's just squat again 3 times. Check in with your body and see how it feels. My right knee is still catching and kind of crunchy, but my left knee is much looser. So I hope that you found that there were some changes in you as well. We're going to level up a little bit. I don't smoke the wacky weed, but if I did, I'm going to pretend that I have some of that wacky weed between my 3 fingers. And as my friend says, you're at a party, there's only one joint, it's being passed around, and when it gets to you, you want to take the biggest drag you can, because you're not certain it's going to make it back around to you again. So this time, instead of breathing in through our nose, we're going to breathe in through our joint, take in as much of that lovely Mother Earth as you can to fill up that belly, and then release it out through your mouth. So this is what it's going to look like. We're going to do that 4 times. That gives you 1 to practice and 3 really good ones. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can watch my belly. some people can take in a ton of air that way. I can usually. This morning I'm a little bit slow, but that was 3 or 4 really good breaths. So let's squat again and see how our bodies feel. My right leg's a lot looser. So my knee's still crunching, but it's not stuck as it was the last time. I've got 2 more breath exercises that we're gonna do. The next one is really easy. It's gonna be in through your nose, fill up your belly, and then I want you to push the air out through your mouth with a huge sigh. So, ha, ha, ha. Kind of creepy. Whew. If you did it with me, add in your 3 squats. Let's check in. Oh, China 79 says that she's in trouble because she's all tender. We'll go over why you're all tender, but just remember this: if you are super tender in here, that's not a bad thing. It just makes it easier for you to find where you need to do the work. So throughout the day, today, tomorrow, any day, just check in with yourself. Find those tender spots and just work them for a little bit. And the more you work them and the more you connect this to that, you'll be telling your brain that you can let that stuff go. I don't need it. I don't need it to be tender. I don't need it to be tight. The more you breathe, the less tender that you'll be, I promise. So if none of those breathing exercises other than the why helped your body feel better, I have one more. And it's silly, but it works in a lot of people. I worked with a lady one time who was a lifelong smoker, and trying to get her to breathe was really hard because she was used to just smoking through like the top quarter of her lungs. Nothing worked. Smoking a joint didn't work. I thought for sure it would because of the cigarettes. The breathing in and the sighing real loud didn't work because she was too embarrassed to do that around other people. The breathing deeply into her belly didn't work because she was tall and skinny. She was a child of the 60s and 70s, and everybody had always told her she needed to be skinny, and you don't ever want your belly to poke out. So none of those clued in with her to get her to take that big, like, life-affirming breath from her belly. So I pulled this last one out of my toolkit, and lo and behold, it worked perfectly. If I'm a little too old for this TV show, I'm 46, so if you're about 10 years younger than me, or if you're my age and you have small children, you may remember the Teletubbies, Tinky Winky, and they were kind of big creatures, and they had these things out of their heads. So we're going to find what we call our Teletubby point, right at the top of your head. So you want to take 2 fingers, press the top of your head, breathe in through your nose, fill up your belly, out through your mouth, nothing in the chest. I like that point a lot because I feel as I breathe, my whole system starts to sort of come down and relax. So let's do 3 more squats and see where we are. Now that's a good squat. I was all the way down, hips almost to my ankles. Everything felt good. I still just got a little bit of stickiness in my right knee, but my hips are good. My low back feels looser. I hope that yours feels looser as well. So, why put pressure on the head? I don't know. So a lot of this, the activations we're going to do, they're in a sequence. There's 13 different activations that we do. It was created by a physical therapist from South Africa. He's been teaching this for 22 years. And as he's been teaching, he's found these spots. They correlate sort of with acupressure points, Chapman's reflexes, lymph node stuff. There's just a lot of systems in your body. And he's figured out places to rub to activate your system, sort of bring it out of fight or flight, to bring it out of sort of shutdown and get it so that your body kind of can orient in the world. You can find yourself in your body and you can be more confident. This one, he just randomly found. I think the story goes he had somebody on the table, couldn't get them to breathe, and went to kind of hold their head and let them know he was there. And when he pressed that point, boom, they were breathing. So who knows why? And yes, if you're at an office, it might look silly to sit there with your hand on your head and breathe. But if the world's come at you hard and you need to calm your system, it's not as silly if you notice that you're sort of coming down. So just remember, Teletubby point. So those are your breathing exercises. You can practice them all week long. Next week, if you join me, we're going to go to the next activation. But in recap for today, pull my shirt up, it's the inverted Y. Rub along the outside of your rib cage. Get to the middle. Be careful of that bony thing in the middle. Go around kind of the holes on either side. Then go up your sternum. Any place that's sticky or a little ouchy, kind of stay on it. See if you can get it to release. All the way up to the sides of that little hole right there. Then you're going to breathe in through your nose. Fill that sexy belly. Release it out through your mouth. Then you're going to do the in through your nose, into your belly with a sigh. You're going to do the Teletubby point. And if you can do your squats in between to see kind of where you are, or you can just check in with your body and see if the breathing helps to kind of bring you down through your day. A great place to try this is during your warm-ups for pole, or right before you go to try a trick. So if you're learning something and it's got you kind of flustered, stop. Check in with your inverted Y. Do a little bit of that. Teletubby point. Look at your instructor. Say, I'm ready to go. I hope this helps you. Next week, we're going to work on the psoas. If you like this, and if you've tried it and it helps, I'd love for you to email us, hoapparel@gmail.com, or you can DM me. Tell me what you felt. I'd love your feedback. If you're in the Columbia area, I also do this work on people, so you can chat with me about getting a session as well. And I will post some resources later today so that you can go to some other websites if you want more information. I hope this makes your Monday amazing. I hope you go out and you slay the world and you kick this week in the balls and you do everything that glorious queens do. And I'll look forward to seeing you next Monday, same place. Thanks, guys.